It's lunchtime.
You've caught me in the middle of pouring over Rotten Tomato results.
For what?
Velocity Z came out this week too. Have you heard about that?
Velocity Z?
Yeah, Velocity Z, the lost city of Z.
Oh, okay. I have heard the name. I don't know anything about it.
I mean, this was like a really, really hotly anticipated movie, and it's currently an 88% fresh. That Free Fire, which contains, according to this, a 65-minute long firefight, is at 67%.
All right.
Boy, we missed out on some good movies this week.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did we? I mean, the Rotten Tomatoes on that is not amazing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's as good as it's certainly better than like Hardcore Harry, which is what I was thinking it was going to end up being.
Yep. Or Dirty Harry,
or Dirty. No, I don't know. Dirty Harry is highly regarded.
I've never seen Dirty Harry. Yeah.
Really?
Nope. Never seen it.
Shocking. All right. So it seems like we've been away for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Should I give an account of my whereabouts?
Yeah, let's hear it. Explain yourself.
So my in-laws for our wedding got us, or it should be more, they got us a cruise package, a Carnival cruise package. It was the 7 days Caribbean trip.
Mm-hmm.
So you leave Miami and you spend a full day out at sea the first day, which is kind of cool. It gives you time to get adjusted to the boat. And then I don't know what order this is. I don't remember. But there's the Isle of Raton, which is part of Honduras. There's Grand Cayman Island trip. Mm-hmm. There is Cozumel, which is an island off the east coast of Mexico. And then there is Belize. And they're all super beautiful destinations. And it was all like, we had like really perfect weather for the entire trip. It didn't rain a single day. It was in the mid 70s to mid 80s the entire trip. And it was a great vacation. I don't even know where to begin because I've never taken a cruise. I've never been on a boat this big before.
Neither have I.
I mean, the boat's capacity is over 3,500 people. It has a zero deck, which
What
is
the hell does that
where
mean?
that's the deck that's right on the water line. And that's where like all the crew quarters are, and there's like some crew facilities, and that's where you like disembark the boat when so the Isle of Raton, Belize, I believe, and the Grand Caymans don't have a port big enough for our boat. So our boat anchors out at sea, and then there's these smaller boats that hold like 200 people called tenders that just run shuttles back and forth from the ocean. And if you so on deck 0 is where you go to get off on those. Most times, if it's a pier, we got off on deck 1, the gangway on deck 1. Mm-hmm. But it's at the water line. I don't know how many decks the thing. I don't know how many does it got deck -1, -2. I mean, there's clearly engine rooms and bunkers for fuel and storage and stuff that you don't see. But it goes all the way up to deck 12 for the elevators, and then you can take a stairs to deck 13, which is a gymnasium. It has like a basketball court and a volleyball court and a half-mile jogging track and stuff like that. And then I didn't find this out until like the 5th day of the cruise. You can then take a stairs up to there, and there's a 9-hole mini golf course around the central red sail or the smokestack of the ship.
Jesus.
So it's potentially 4 floors.
How does that work on a boat?
What?
Mini golf?
So
on a non-stable platform?
It's interesting because you can definitely tell the boat is moving. And this is an older boat. The Carnival Glory is a boat that was laid down in the late 80s, but it still has some pretty sophisticated stabilization technologies because when we had some pretty heavy seas, especially the last few days, there was like 10 to 12-foot swells, and you can feel the boat rock back and forth, but there's like this like a notching kind of like you can tell like there's some kind of ship thrusters that's resisting the force that's being so it gives it like a very slow and mechanical back and forth through the feeling. So like the mini golf was like pretty top. Like it was like the artificial grass was top notch. It was like what I would compare it to like field turf. Like if you've been on a modern NFL stadium or soccer stadium, like it's that kind of grass. So it's a little thicker, and the balls don't like it. They roll a bit better. than like on just a shitty green carpet.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. It didn't. I don't think it would affect the play of the game.
I'm just picturing like you pulling the club back to take a swing and the ball just moving out from under it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's not like I said.
Huh.
I've been seasick before, and I didn't even feel a twinge, regardless of where we were on the boat. Like our berth was on deck 8. And we had an interior booth or a berth. There's the ones on the outside have like full decks that you can go out. You have a private
it costs
deck.
a lot more.
It actually doesn't.
What? No?
It's like maybe a 20% upcharge, which I feel like if you're going to expend the money to go on a cruise, it's probably well worth it.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, that was like, and there's so the way the cruise works is like the food is mostly inclusive. And they've got there's 3 different restaurants. There's like platinum, golden, and then an emerald restaurant. And the platinum, golden are just 2 versions of the same thing, so they can get people in and out. And you're assigned a dining time. And you show up there, and you there's each day has a daily menu. And they have like port of call stuff, which is like specialties from the place you just visited or are going to visit. And then you've also got like a rotating menu of like all kinds of different things. And then you also have there's a rare finds. And one day it might be escargot, and another day it might be some weird pineapple salsa dish or stuff like that. And then it's like a 4-course meal that you can choose to do every day. Or
It's not bad.
if you don't want to do that, they have like 2 or 3 different buffets. They're always rotating. There's a burger joint that goes from like noon to 6, where you can get burgers and fries. There is what you would dig is a burrito shack right there by the pool that will make tacos or burritos. And I would say it's roughly Chipotle quality, except for they fresh make the tortillas.
Oh.
They have a tortilla machine where they actually and like I feel like they're as good the tortilla like obviously Mazunta's, this place that's down the street, is better overall, but the tortillas were as good as Mazunta's, which kind of surprised me. And they're also open for breakfast, like from 7:30 to 10:30 in the morning, so you can have breakfast burritos.
Can you get a taco in the pool?
I don't know. You sure could, because like it's an easy throw. It's an easy throw from the top. So I don't know what they would actually do. Because
I'm thinking like floating taco stand.
You know, here's the thing that was shocking to me: how little bloody mindedness there was on this cruise. Like I was expecting to see some shocking displays of assholery and douchebaggery and stuff like that. Very rarely did I see it, and mostly it was at the hands of children.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's like the average age, would you say, on this boat? Is it mostly like older people, just
30s probably
having a good time? 30s.
There was a few older folks. There was, I mean, because so Carnival is kind of like everyone's default first cruise, because it's like much more of a party boat than some. And I met a lot of experienced cruisers in my travel, and I guess there's like celebrity. And Norwegian is like the oldest. Like you'll see like people with oxygen tanks and walkers on the deck.
Oh boy.
Celebrity's the most upscale. Like they don't do a lot of party shit. It's mostly like if you want to dress fancy and eat like at 4-star restaurant type of quality all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about Carnival is that the food was really good, but like it wasn't the best of anything that I'd ever had, except for the one exception, because my mother-in-law paid for like one excursion and one dining upgrade, and that's where the Emerald restaurant, that's like equivalent to like a St. Elmo's steakhouse.
Yeah.
The food was noticeably better and probably as good as anything I've ever had on land at there. And that
nice.
The thing is that was only a $20 per person upcharge. So
okay, so yeah, I wonder how much you pay for the meal initially. Probably not much, considering the all-inclusive nature of it.
Yeah. And then there's also a couple of things like you can bring on. They will give you for like $80. They'll give you a 1.75 liter of any booze in your room, and you can also bring 2 bottles of wine.
Any booze?
Any booze. Yeah.
Anything
that they have anything on? No. Anything they have in stock. Like you can choose between several. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. But so Ceci and I, we didn't have a drink package because those are expensive, and you have to buy them in pairs. You can't, because you're allowed 15 drinks a day. So
that should be enough.
What they're afraid of, they're afraid of is like I would buy a drink package and then I would split half my drinks with Cecily. So the all-inclusive drink package was $400 and you have to buy 2 of them.
Oof.
Or you have to buy as many as there are people in your stateroom. 15
drinks a day for how many days?
7.
7 days? Oh, yeah. That's worth $400.
Oh yeah, no, it's like, and that's the thing. If we had more money, there's a lot of things where like if I do a cruise in the future and I had money in my pocket, you could do some pretty amazing things. Because the other thing, I don't know where else to go. Oh, let me tell you just a bit more about the boat. So every night they had at least 1 and usually 2 movies. They have this giant screen that's in front of the pool, and they have like stadium kind of towards the style seating all around it. And they had like, you know, Rogue One was there. I saw Hidden Figures for the first time.
Oh yeah,
they had a lot of like current. They showed Moana one day. Some of them were like a little bit older, but some of them were pretty current. Nothing was more than like 6 months old. So that was neat. They had that every night. They had except for one day where they did karaoke, they had at least 3 comedy shows a night. And they have like PG rated ones until like 10:30, and then they have the adult comics. And my favorite one was this woman named June. She's a 65-year-old black woman whose big claim to fame is she had a minor role in Eddie Murphy's Coming to America.
Okay.
But she was funny as hell, and every night we decided to see her for all 3 shows that she did on the boat. She always closed the show with this hilarious Tina Turner impersonation. She gets out this blonde, like GoldenEye era Tina Turner wig, and then she puts lipstick on her, and she does a rendition of Tina Turner's "What's Love Got to Do with It," and I saw it 3 times, and it cracked me up every single time.
Nice,
because she's got the stank face going, and she's stomping around. But she was really funny. She's very interactive with the audience. Like at one point, she called me a Duck Dynasty looking motherfucker. And then asked me where I'm from. I said Cincinnati. She had a whole bunch of fun. I can't remember because I was really drunk at the time. Insights about Cincinnati, but she was
14
fun.
drinks in.
Yeah. Because the days where we got off the boat, it's pretty easy to find, like, you can go to cabanas that are all inclusive, or like when we were at, I think it was Belize, for $60 for the couple, we got a private cabana, which sounds better than it is. It's like essentially a tent, the half tent that covers of 2 chairs, and a set of snorkel gear with fins, and access to like a private section of beach that has a really nice reef. Because here's something interesting about Belize. I guess now that the Great Barrier Reef is almost dead and is certainly dying, it's now the best barrier reef in the world.
Damn.
And like it's taking over a lot of the tourism from Australia, because the Gulf of Mexico is sheltered from some of the warming and acidification trends that are killing the Great Barrier Reef. And it the most amazing diving I've ever been in is off the coast of Hawaii, and I'd give that like a 10 for 10. I'd say this was like an 8 for 10. Like as good as, like, you know, it's like 100 yards off of the shore. And there's just like beautiful coral reefs and like tons of amazing fish and just all kinds of crazy shit. I saw like the biggest puffer fish I've ever seen in my life. It was like that big. And it was all in about, 15 to 20 feet of just crystal clear water. In fact, we could snorkel off this reef until like you go off to about 300 to 600 feet off the shore. And then the water just goes into like inky black water. And you can see like probably 200 feet down before it starts to get too dark and murky to see. It's like, it's some of the clearest water I've ever seen. I forget why I was, but they also, for $12, will sell you a 32-ounce cup of rum punch that was about 85% rum. So Cecily and I got 2 of those that day, and like we had about half of it left when we were trying to get on the boat, and they won't let it take you on the boat. So we're like gunning through the last half of this rum punch, and we got shit faced going onto the boat.
Yeah.
And that day, that day is kind of a blur.
How many people vomiting over the sides?
I didn't see anyone vomit the whole time.
No.
Oh, I did walk
Okay.
in on the first night. I did walk in on this little Japanese guy who was having a real bad time in one of the public bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know whether that was day one of his all inclusive drink pass or.
Right.
They have a surprisingly nice casino.
Yeah.
Like easily better than any of the shitty casinos in Indiana. On par with like I guess the Jack Casino here downtown in Cincinnati.
Damn. How big is it? Like about that size or?
I'm trying to think because it's really hard to judge with the ship. It's as wide as the whole ship. It's essentially a third of deck 5.
Okay.
So I don't know. I couldn't tell you how long the ship is either.
All right. Yeah.
But it's big.
Long.
It's got like 2 craps tables, 2 roulette wheels,
Okay.
a bunch 2 dedicated poker tables, a bunch of dedicated blackjack tables, and then just a lot of slot machines.
Yeah.
And that's what Cecil we both put $20 in and then played until we ran out and then quit. And it was fun. Some people were just like, I saw people like living in the casino.
Yeah.
And I think I've also heard that the boat casinos are a little bit more generous than the on land ones.
With their payouts and stuff.
Yeah, because it's kind of subsidized by the boat itself.
I suppose so.
And
yeah.
they're very generous with like I hear it's easy, like it's kind of economic that if you want a drink package, you can win drink packages at the casino.
Oh, okay.
Because like at 1,250 points, you win a drink package, and I think that I had accrued like 70 points by the time I'd spent my $40.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. So assuming you don't just lose every dime you put in,
yeah.
recycle that money and maybe get some points. Yeah.
I was also surprised by how like cosmopolitan the crew is. Like, there's hardly any Americans. They all have like their country of origin under, and they're very few. I mean, like my desk, my dining room steward is this guy named Deepak, and I got to be. I talked to him quite a bit, and I guess he works for 7 months straight, essentially
Like
7 days a
fishing
week.
boat. Yeah.
And then for 5 months of the year he has off, and he spends that time with his family.
Huh.
And then my cabin steward is Jose, and that's
Not
the other
bad.
thing. They all know they remember your name like after the first day. It's like, hello, Mr. Aaron and Cecily, how are you doing? And like, I'm good, Jose. Is everything fine at the cabin? Yes. And like, I mean, these guys, like, I haven't seen crazy service. Every single time you leave the fucking room, they do your room.
Huh.
It's insane and kind of spooky.
Yeah. How do they know?
I think, I mean, Jose is always in the hallway.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think that's his job, is to be like, room number 8421, just evacuate. You go in there and fold up a towel, make a towel look like a dog. Do it now. Because that's shit they do. Like you every time we come back, our towels are folded into an improbable configuration, and they would also leave the schedule for the next day, because every you have like a 3-page itinerary of what's going on in the boat, because there's all kinds of shit. Oh, for example,
Yeah. Enormous.
I won a golden ship with at a trivia contest. I was a ringer. They had 2 different trivia contests as I slaughtered. One was a TV theme show trivia, and one was Game of Thrones. One is Game of Thrones trivia.
Not fair.
No,
Completely unfair.
I should have been barred. And people. So I don't know if this is just because I won this like on the first sea day, which was at the very first cruise. But people are unreasonably impressed with this thing. I was wearing this. I'm not making it up, on a chain on my neck, and like,
that's cool.
Every 15 feet on a boat, it's like, it's a ship on a stick, guy. Where'd you win it? And blah blah blah. Everybody's like, because I think they only give like 24 of these out over the entire trip.
Yeah.
I was also, the other thing, I wanted to do a hairy chest contest, but I screwed up. I thought that was at 1:30. It was at 1:15. So I missed that. And also the guy who won had like a impressive like hair sweater. I don't think I would have gotten it.
Yeah.
He was like just magnificent.
Wow.
Full body chimpanzee look. Dark, thick, matted black hair. Shoulders, everything.
Runner up, maybe.
I don't know. I just saw the winner. I didn't see but I was, my plan was like, I've got a pretty hairy chest, but I was just going to ham it up. That's my solution to everything.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else we did that was really cool. The other thing I surprised, like some of the excursions, because here's the thing, like if you don't pay for excursions, you're essentially limited to where you can walk on a port. And there's most places that have like taxis. They'll take you to local beaches. So that's what Cecily and I usually did, because like $5 to get there. hang out at the beach all day and we come back. But some excursions were cool. Like you could go to Mayan ruins for like $180 a person.
That's awesome.
You could dive shipwrecks for like in the $200 range. You could go to is it Chichen Itza?
I always pronounced it Chichen, but
okay,
but
it looks like it
don't
says
know.
Chichen Itza.
Yeah,
It's like the Aztec ruins, and like
how do you get to that fucking thing in that amount of time?
I don't
and back.
Do
they helicopter you in?
I have no idea because I didn't investigate it because it's like maybe next time. And some of this shit is like super fakey and dumb. Like there was one turtle excursion that I saw where they literally had, it was the saddest thing I'd ever seen. Like I didn't participate in it, but I saw there's this little cove where they've gotten these like chain link fencing and they've pinned in like 7 sea turtles in a space just half the size of an Olympic swimming pool, and you could go and like grab a turtle and pull it out of the water and like smile with it. And I'm just like, that's,
you can go to an aquarium
and like all the port towns, they're all the fucking same, but like I was surprised at how many genuine experiences you could, because like I don't care how like you might be with like the people of Walmart, but if you see Chichen Itza, that's still kind of fucking cool, right?
Yeah.
Or if you see Mayan ruins, like that's an experience that you wouldn't likely have.
It makes me wonder if it's just like along the lines of the turtle thing,
right?
Where they just have like a cardboard cutout or like a matte painting.
The only thing that would really bum me out is they had like a fit, like if they had like Mexicans dressed up as Quetzalcoatl or whatever,
right?
And they had the featherhead, and I'd take pictures like that. That would like I just want to see the place and maybe climb the steps and like have a guide that knows what they're talking about. Because the other thing, as I heard some of the tour guides giving tours, and they were just telling outrageous lies and misinformation.
Right.
And I see that, like if you go touring caves in Kentucky, you go to Mammoth Cave where there's like fucking park rangers, like Jellystone looking park rangers with hats, and they tell you facts and interesting figures. And you go to some of these caves that are ran privately, and it's all fucking ghost stories and bullshit.
Yeah.
And
we went to Cave of the Winds out in Colorado.
A lot of ghost stories and bullshit.
A lot of ghost stories. Yeah, it was about the guy who carved out the cave by hand, and his wife died in it, and that drives
me crazy.
Yeah.
The other thing I was worried about, because like me and Cecily were like, what the fuck is the environmental impact of this goddamn world destroyer that we're currently on? And I got home and researched it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. And it's one of those things where technology is getting better and better all the time. But it's like, one article I said compared like first of all, it is not environmentally responsible to travel whatsoever, is the conclusion I came around from doing research. It's just really terrible from the environment to fly any place or cruise any place. And I don't know how realistic it is to tell people not to travel. And they compared like the trip that I took to like flying to the Grand Cayman Islands for 7 days and staying there, and it was 1/6 the carbon footprint of the cruise. But even the article is like, well, it's not an apples to apples comparison, because that just compares the electricity you're going to use and the airfare. It doesn't include your how much you're going to eat and like all those different things. Plus, I think a fair comparison would be to take an airplane to 4 different islands. Because I didn't spend a week in Grand Cayman. I spent a day at Grand Cayman, a day at Isla Raton, et cetera, et cetera. So it wasn't as bad, and it wasn't as, because there was a lot of things I was afraid of as far as like how it would be to have that many people all cooped up. But there's just so much shit to do at any given time. There's always stuff to be doing and seeing, and there's like the other thing I really appreciated. There's like the two top decks up front are 21 and over. So if you want to get away from screaming kids, you could.
Right. How densely populated was it? Like, did you feel pretty comfortable just kind of walking around, or was it? Were there times where it got a little too many people?
The cool thing is, because I think Isla Raton, we only essentially went to shore and did some shopping and then came back. Yeah. No, that was Belize. But so we came back like very early, and there was like still 4 hours left of shore leave, and the boat was deserted. And that might be a tip. Like if you don't like people, stay on the boat on one of the shore days, and you just essentially.
I'm just worried about like all the activities being soaked up by
No,
Like if you wanted to go mini golfing and there were 600 people waiting in line to mini golf.
no, I didn't see. Of course, I only mini golfed like at midnight, so I
Okay.
never tried to go, and I never swam in the pool in the middle of the day because like this is a carnival boat, so the middle central pool, which everything kind of runs around, was just like fucking loud ass music and drunk people from like noon to 8 till they started showing movies, and then it kind of calmed down. But I watched the majority of Rogue One from a hot tub. That was cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, had to wait for a bunch of fucking teenagers to get out of it, but it's like soon as they got out, me and Cecily like move on it, and all the old folks went in.
What about all the sperm floating around in there? After those teenagers got out.
Oh yeah, it was 50% jizz by that time,
Easily.
but it was warm and the jets kept it moving. So
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to think what else to
Focus
say about
on
the
Rogue
thing.
One.
Yeah.
Don't look down.
Yeah. K2, he's a funny guy. I don't know what else I have to say about it. It was a really cool experience. It also allowed me to be a different type of person. Like, for example, we were coming back from the comedy clubs, and the staircase we took, there's a big cutout where you can see the dance floor of White Heat, the club.
Oh,
and there was people, like drunk people, and me and Seth's like, oh, that looks like a good time. So let's go and be like drunk dancing assholes. And like, that's nothing I normally do, but sometimes I like to do it. And any side of you that you want, you can indulge in something like this.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great time.
Yeah.
Sounds like
it's surprisingly affordable for what it is too, like the all-inclusive nature of it, the multiple ports. Now, if you want to start doing like, they also hit you. No, I don't hit you, but they add 15% gratuity to your ticket price at the last day, which I hear some assholes actually go down to customer service to take off, which seems really shitty considering the level of service these people give you.
Yeah.
Like they wait on you hand and fucking foot, and you don't like an entree here, they'll go back and get you a different one or whatever.
Yeah.
But that seemed like and you can spend like you can easily spend $300 per person per shore day just doing excursions and shit.
Yeah.
And then you can also upgrade your drink pay. But the bare bones package seemed like it was. I think it was $1,400. I saw the bill some point. It was like $1,400 for both of us.
That's not bad.
No, like for a week, because that's the other thing. Is like that's
it's accommodations,
exactly.
It's travel, it's everything.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, it was pretty fun. So that's the full accounting of my app. Oh, the other thing is I thought I was going to be able to do something. Like I really wanted to. There's a couple things I wanted to do. Like I wanted to do some like some work, but the internet was shit. Like everywhere I go, I went to 2 different resorts to try to get Wi-Fi, and I couldn't even get a connection to my bank to work. The ship Wi-Fi was bullshit, and it was like $36 a day too, the satellite connection.
Oh, yeah, that's.
But you've got like, for $70 a day, you get the top of line package that apparently allows Netflix streaming, and I'm like, you got 4,000 people just are all trying to stick their dick through the same pipe, and it's just not working, man. Like I don't. And there was like, I thought that there was an internet cafe where you could go and like get some kind of Yes, there is, but you still have to pay $35 to use the internet.
Oh, at the internet cafe.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I did for $5 you could do the social media package where you could do like it was just allowed Facebook, Instagram, I think Snapchat was one of them, and I did send an Instagram out of my golden stick victory on the boat. But that's essentially the only time that's got to be one of the longest times I've been without the internet too. But it's funny because I got off the boat and I'm like, oh, we bombed 2 different countries, and lots of things, lots of exciting things have happened since I got on the ship.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So there we go.
I'm trying to pull in a picture real quick.
A picture?
Yeah, so I built this.
Oh, is this the Westworld thing?
No, this is not the Westworld thing. The Westworld thing did not work out in time. We got it most of the way there, but there's something about their CNC machine that is not calibrated right or something, or we just weren't using it right.
You guys at the music factory.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It just wants to sweat. It's not configured to work wood, man.
But yeah, it turned out it wasn't cutting completely straight on our very small cuts. So I don't know. It didn't work out, but I built this fucking
Oh,
thing.
you built a
over the
garden
weekend.
bench.
I sure did. Look at that thing. I put a giant bald move logo on it. No,
Did you? I was like,
No.
say, did you really?
No, I got to etch that in with a laser.
That's
laser
cool.
etcher.
So it's all that
Yeah,
pressure
so
treated
I've been-
lumber.
Built that. Yeah, this is before I sanded it, so you can see kind of stamps on the wood in places.
It looks sturdy as hell,
since-
man.
Yeah,
4x4
it's
posts.
fucking heavy too.
That looks like that's roughly how I built my workbench.
Yeah.
Which to get into my house, I had to saw the like the legs there. I had to saw the legs in half and take it apart and then
Yeah.
put it back together when I got it set up.
So I almost had to do that. So the way I did this is I don't have like a saw.
Mm-hmm.
So we were using this manufactory thing, and I bought all the lumber. I loaded it into my CRV, which it barely fucking fit.
Right.
And then we drove it over to the manufactory where I did all of my cuts on their equipment, and then I loaded it all back in, and then I took it to my house because I knew I wasn't going to be able to assemble it there and then stick it in my car.
Sure.
It's just
yeah,
too
yeah.
huge.
There's no way.
So I put it in the garage, and we built it over the weekend. The whole thing took like maybe 6 hours of cutting and chopping and screwing.
Now, did you find having to make all the cuts at one location? Did you blow any cuts?
No.
Really?
Yeah, so I actually used plans. I didn't design this thing.
Oh.
I used plans that were on the internet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it turned out fine.
Okay.
I thought I had blown a cut at one point
Uh-huh.
because I made a cut before I like double checked
Mm-hmm.
something, but it turns out it was fine.
Mm.
So I took all of it, I loaded it into the garage, and we built it in there. And then I thought, okay, how are we gonna get this to the back
Mm-hmm.
yard? And I went and I measured it, and there was like just enough clearance on the door because. Okay, my girlfriend's really small.
Can't you take it
This
through
thing
the
weighs, like-
garage door?
Yeah, we could have, but that would have been like out the front, all the way
and
around
she
the
just wasn't
side.
physically strong enough to muscle it around.
I mean, the side's super narrow. Then you got a gate like on the fence that is super narrow.
Oh, right. You have to lift it up and over.
Right, and there was no way that we were doing that much. So we measured it, and it was like a quarter of an inch on each side clearance through that door
Yeah.
to take it through the house and out the back double doors. And we did that, but we had to take the door off the hinge to get it to
sure.
go because it was real close. But it's up there, and I actually posted this on Craigslist. I was going to build some stuff for people if they wanted to do like a commissioned type of thing, but
Are you you bald move commission you talking about?
no,
Oh.
no. Posted on Craigslist.
Oh, I see.
It was like, hey, I'll build one of these for you if you want one.
Did you do it?
No, nobody took me up on it yet. I need to repost it, I guess. It's been a couple weeks.
Oh yeah. You gotta do that like every
Yeah.
What's your price? What were you charging for it?
$275.
Is that did you do any like competitive pricing or?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, materials all in are like 75, and then with my time in it,
Yeah.
it's like 6 hours of my time. What's that
Right,
worth? And
right.
I mean, it's a pretty good profit margin, but
Do you think you could get like that 6 hours down to 3 if you got better at it? Or?
probably, yeah. We didn't really know what we were doing so much, but
Or if you had
I don't
like
know.
if you built 3 at a time, because like some of that shit you could get.
yeah,
That's the thing. Like once I finally got like Jack's bunk bed together, I'm like, damn, I could build this in like a third of the time now.
Right.
But I'll never do it again.
yeah,
so.
yeah. Sure, could have, but that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed just building that thing.
All right. Should we get to the fan stuff? Should we get to the forum threads and the MySpace,
I have
the Twitter?
I have something else real quick.
Okay.
Somebody on the forums wanted us to shout out George Lampman.
Who's George Lampman?
He's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he has a birthday this week, or
Oh.
had a birthday last week.
Well, happy birthday, George.
Happy 50th birthday.
50th.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's a
Your
big
golden
50.
golden birthday. Or
Yeah.
maybe
So,
it's diamond.
Not gonna make that a habit, but
Right.
it was the first request we've had, and I'm like, yeah, why not?
Sorry I was at sea
He's a big
for your
fan.
birthday.
Yeah.
All right, forums. Olivia D from our hometown, Cincinnati, Indiana. Yep, Cincinnati, Ohio. Any plans on checking out the Star Wars and Power of the Costume exhibit at the Museum Center when it opens next month? I had no idea that was coming to town,
Power of the costume.
but it does sound like something I would like to check out. I'm assuming it's like a bunch of different authentic Star Wars. Like they got to have Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Probably got a Padme or two.
Yep. Yeah, you got to.
Maybe there's some Stormtrooper armor.
Yeah. Obi-Wan's a pretty easy one to get. You know, just really you go to Walmart, buy a robe.
I bet they got a Wookiee.
A Wookiee.
Yeah, I bet they got a
Oh,
Chewbacca.
man. Or at least, at the very least, an Ewok.
Yeah, that's just half a Wookiee.
Yeah. You could
Reversed.
really put 2 Ewoks in the same display case.
I was thinking because like for Attack or for the Clone Wars, or not Clone Wars, the prequels, there's a shit ton of Wookiee costumes involved in that. But they had a lot of Wookiees. I mean, there was a lot of CGI Wookiees, but they had a lot of like. So I bet they have a lot of Wookiee costumes floating around they could put on display.
Yeah, there was a whole Order 69 or whatever it was.
Right. Like Peter,
Yeah, those scenes.
like Peter Mayhew, like he just sleeps. You can't get a Chewbacca. Like he sleeps in that.
I bet those were all CG though, right? Like those Wookiees. I bet a lot of them.
A
were
lot of
CG.
them, but there's a lot of like Yoda saying goodbye to Wookiees. Those guys are human, surely.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a couple, like a half dozen to a dozen Wookiees walking around.
Yeah.
Getting paychecks for actors. But yeah, I'd check that out. Jack would be fascinated with it too. If I do, I'll take pictures and I'll show y'all. Do you have any do you have any Twitter stuff?
I don't know. I'll have to check.
I'll keep going and you interrupt when you got one. Texas Sandman said, my wife and I are going to be doing the Whole30 diet thing, which I guess that's not just like the Whole30 diet. It's like Whole30 as a name, which is basically a super strict paleo diet for a month. We are both in a healthy weight range, but we want to eat more nutritionally balanced diet and cut out the processed crappy stuff, and then find out what foods make us feel like shit when we add them back to our diet and adjust accordingly. Good strategy. Have either of you had any experience with fad diets or strict food regulations? Oh boy. Have we ever? I know enough about this guy to know he has, and I know I do. So you've dabbled in more of this shit than I have, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done paleo. I did it for quite a while, actually. I mean, what do you want to know? Like, are you gonna feel great on your paleo diet?
Are you?
Probably. You'll be hungry all the time.
Yeah.
You'll be mostly hungry all the time, but you will feel much, much better. And the weight will come off super fast on paleo.
Don't go on a cruise, because that's the other thing is Sessa and I, on the way home, we realized that we were hungry for the first time in like 8 days. Because it's like you've got pizza and ice cream 24/7. Most food is from like 6 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. You can be plied with just incredible amounts of food, and they never charge you for anything. So I gained 11 pounds on the cruise.
Fuck.
I'm not even making it up. Now, I've already lost 6 of those pounds.
Yeah.
Because I think most of it was just like backlogged in my fucking intestines.
Yep.
But yeah, it's
dam.
it's insane. We had like pizza almost, and that was like the end of the evening. We'd go to the pizza bar and get a custom pizza made and take it back to the room. Oh,
wow.
Free room service 24/7 too.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But yeah, that's not that. I did feel like shit most of the time. The second day I made it a point. It's like, okay, you're not just going to eat until you're miserable, because an hour later you can just eat some more.
Yeah.
So just like, my standard for what I'll put in my mouth steadily increased as the went on the week. So you've done paleo,
on
and
paleo,
you felt good, right?
Yeah, I felt good, but that's also like a thing on paleo where you're eating so much volume to make up for the lost calories of cutting out carbs.
Right. I remember you eating a lot of broccoli and that doing interesting things to your farts.
Well, yeah, that'll happen.
There were some days in studio where like you'd eat a half a bag of broccoli and it was grim.
Yeah, I felt like broccoli and chicken are the staples for me anyway. They were. I don't know. It's also a little more expensive because you're buying a lot more meat. You can fill up on carbs pretty easily and pretty cheaply.
Right.
But when you're trying to fill up on meats and veggies, that gets expensive. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good like base to start with.
Especially if you have some kind of weird food allergy, I think it
so.
would be a great way to find out if you did.
Yeah. Because, I mean, what a doctor would actually recommend, or someone who were trying to do this in a more controlled manner, they would eliminate one thing at a time.
Right.
Instead of like eliminating everything and then adding it back one at a time, you go the opposite way, because that helps you establish healthy habits. Unlike, because the big problem with diets is that most people who do them can't do it long term.
Right.
And then they go on this radical diet and they lose weight and they feel great, and then their habits are just such that they're going to inevitably fail and go right
It's
back
not
to
a
where they
lifestyle
were.
change. It's something they do to get to a certain thing, and then they get off of it, and
Right. Now,
they
for
go to
me,
shit.
I went on a crazy binge diet. I lost like 50 pounds, and then I mostly kept it off over the years. Like I'm a little bit heavier than I'd like to be right now, but
Yeah, ever since we've made our reacquaintance, like you showed me that one driver's license picture that you like I've never seen you look fat before, and you like were like a bloated corpse version of yourself.
yeah.
But you've been trim ever since I've known you, essentially, growing up through your adult life.
Yeah, so I mean it can work. Like if you think that you can do this crazy binge diet and then add things back and form some healthy habits, go for it. But that's my biggest concern is like, are you going to be able to
Is it
hit a
sustainable?
balance that you can sustain?
Right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I don't know that yo-yo dieting, like that might be the worst of all worlds.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you feel like shit, not just
Right.
like physically, but emotionally.
Yeah, because you feel like you're constantly failing, or
Yeah.
know.
You lose all your gains and even gain more after
Right.
you. I mean, it's
Yeah, because I did Atkins for like a year, and I lost a pretty good, crazy amount of weight. But as soon as I went off of it, like I mean, within 45 days, I felt like all that weight came back.
yeah.
Which that doesn't seem possible. Like it really doesn't seem possible. Like I don't know whether I was like just overdoing it on the carbs or gorging myself. The most success I've ever had was I did this thing called the hacker's diet, where you just count. It's essentially counting calories and cutting like 10% out of whatever your metabolic rate is, and combine
Right.
that with exercise, diet and exercise, and
Yeah.
it worked. And I kept that. I did that when I was 30, and I lost like 70 pounds, and I have. It's just now, just like the late last year, that I gained the last pound back.
Yeah.
And I kept a lot, like it. I kept a lot of that weight off for like a good 5 years and stayed healthy. But what's killed me is since I moved to Cincinnati, I haven't been nearly as active as I was in Indiana, and I'm trying to reverse that trend. Now that I got a house again, I'm setting up a gym, and we can, like you just can't do like P90X in an apartment.
No.
Certainly
you
not a
can't.
second floor apartment if you don't want to be a complete asshole to
If you
the
weigh
person. Yeah.
200 plus pounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not that's not cool, man.
Like I'm gonna be bouncing their lighting fixtures and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get that stuff, get a boxing gym and stuff set up in my basement right now. So
I think the
can get back.
most success I've ever had losing weight was when I was doing P90X and just eating whatever garbage I wanted to.
Yeah, that's another strategy.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was healthy for me. It probably
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. But I had the lowest body fat percentage I've ever had.
Sure.
I had the most muscle ever. And I was eating Jimmy John's twice a day, 4,000 calories.
Well, I was doing it because I was doing. I think you might have got on the tail end of my marathoning.
Yeah.
But when I was in like my peak physical condition when that time you moved in with me for the first time, and you started doing P90X, I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it too.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, man, I got like in ridiculously good shape and ate whatever the hell I wanted.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You got to be, I was boxing 3-4 times a week. I was running 2-3 miles a day. I was doing P90X every day. Like if you burn that much calories, you can kind of eat whatever you want, and it's no big deal. Or I mean, that's the thing. Like, God, I can't believe I let this happen to myself. But when you get down to your ideal weight, if you just weigh yourself every day and it's like, oh, I gained a pound or two,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it. It's much easier to be like, I'm gonna eat half the shit that I'd normally eat this day. Get back on the scales. Oh, I'm good. It's much easier to stay on top of it. It's just like, I gained like 30 pounds in like a 4 or 5 month stretch when I just took my eye off the ball.
Right. I mean, that's also so that has its own problem, I guess, which is you eventually end up replacing muscle with fat. Because like if you're not maintaining your
Right.
muscle, the muscle will
Atrophy,
go away
yeah,
faster
yeah.
than the fat will.
Yeah.
And you'll go, oh well, I'm at the right weight, but your body fat percentage will be going up
Right.
the whole time, which is also bad for you. But yeah, I don't know. The best thing I can say is like, yeah, you might still be gaining weight, or you might not be losing it super fast, but like find a balance that works for you. Because if you don't, you'll just put it all back on. That's the thing that I eventually came to. Like I was, at a point where I just decided, okay, well, I can change my eating habits a little bit, or I can continue this extreme workout routine. and I decided, yeah, it's just there's a trade off on time there
Yeah.
that I wasn't willing to make. So I just eat a little bit
You eat one burrito a day,
less.
and that's it.
I mean, kind of.
You kind of like
I
it's
eat a
like,
giant burrito for lunch, and then I eat a much smaller dinner,
Right.
much smaller, much healthier dinner.
I saw because I saw on Reddit somebody was on the Ask Science subreddit, and they're like, "Will we ever get to the technology like in the Jetsons where you can take a pill, and that would sustain you all day?" And I'm like, that's essentially what Jim does. He just eats a pill that's roughly the size of his head.
Yeah,
The future is here.
yeah, or that's what Soylent is. Like my
Yeah.
girlfriend started drinking Soylent in the mornings.
I actually really I didn't. I switched to Joyland
Yeah.
because I got sick of eating the same fairly good tasting vanilla oatmeal shit.
Yeah,
Joyland had like 5 different flavors, and you can mix and match like strawberry and banana, or banana and chocolate, or only one that I didn't like is mango. That shit can go die in a fire. Mango oatmeal, fuck yourself. No, that's bad.
mango, fuck yourself.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. But yeah, that I did Atkins and I did Joyland. But the most success I had was the Hacker's Diet, which if you Google for it, there's an app for it, and it makes sense. It makes sense. Calories in, calories out. The difference of that is how much you're going to gain or lose. And that's the thing. All the other diets are bullshit. I mean, like they work like paleo, but they work because you can't physically eat as much steak and broccoli as you can potato chips.
Right.
So if you do the calories, you're just essentially you're counting calories without counting calories, because nobody's going to gorge themselves on fucking broccoli.
Yeah.
Especially raw broccoli.
And that's the thing. Like,
But there is no shortcut. You cannot circumvent the laws of nature, which is calories in, calories out.
I mean, the reason paleo works is not because you're not eating carbs so much as carbs come with a lot of other shit usually. Like carbs come with an ass load of salt and an ass load of fat. And fat's where you get most of your calories. Like carbs and protein are 3 calories per gram.
Right.
Fats are 9 calories per gram.
Right.
So
and a lot more vitamins and minerals too.
Right. So if you eliminate like the oils that typically come with like potato chips, for instance, and all those carbs that kind of carry it, then you end up eliminating a lot of calories just incidentally.
Indeed. Someone believe in 3 from Kansas. Aaron, do you own any sports memorabilia? If not, what would your top choice be to obtain? A little bit. I'm not much of a
Football stadium.
I'm not much of a collector. Oh, that's one thing. Well, one of these days I'm gonna have to retell the story of my family moving to Texas, because during the boat, like, you're assigned to sit with people at a table. So you can pay for like a private table and all that, but you're essentially eating with like the same people, everything. And and at one point they goaded me into telling the story of how my family came to be in Texas. And it's the first time I've really thought as an adult. It's hilarious. It's hilarious how ill-conceived their idea was from top to bottom. And Cecily started surreptitiously filming me while I was telling the story. And like I had tears in my eyes just laughing at how stupid it all fucking was, man. It was so great. Anyway, I don't own a lot of sports memorabilia. I have rookie cards of Peyton Manning and Eli Manning that Peyton was gracious enough to sign. I have a football that Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy signed for me. I have a bunch of jerseys. Like I've got Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Marshall Faulk, a bunch of different shit. What was the Dallas? I've forgotten my favorite Colts tight end, Dallas something or other. I've got a bunch of and I have this day, like one of these days, if I have like this big basement man cave, I'll like get them all shadow boxed or like mounted and all that stuff. But I don't really have a lot of memorabilia behind that, because I'm not into collecting things. I'm not into getting people to sign things.
I'm looking at 2 pieces of memorabilia. Not really.
Well, I mean, they're McFarlane. Yeah, I've got my I've got the past and future of the Colts franchise, Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning McFarlane statues.
Yeah.
But they're, for $12 you can go to Toys R Us and get them. I don't think that's like real memorabilia.
Right.
But yeah, I don't collect that shit. In fact, I the autographs I got were essentially something that was thrown into this event that I went to, because I wouldn't have otherwise. Like I've gotten to meet Peyton twice and Tony Dungy once, and I'm content to just have a conversation. Like if I can, I actually talked to Tony for like 5 minutes, and I like that's cooler to me than like an autograph or a picture or something signed. Like I actually got to speak to him in a reasonable amount of depth for an average person.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see. I'm Maddie, 94. What is your guys' rough schedule? What time do you get up? What time do you go to sleep? What time do you get home? Etc. That is different depending on what season it is.
Yeah, it is. My general one is I get up at 9-ish
Yeah.
usually in the morning. I know, pretty late. Coming to work 10:30 somewhere in there. Do all the stuff we got to do, go home anywhere from 4 to 6, depending on, sometimes I don't even go home because we have a movie that night. And,
Right.
but if we don't have a movie, then, go home 4 to 6, cook some dinner, hang out with my girlfriend till 9 when she goes to bed, and then work some more, from like 9 till work and optionally just like screw around and watch YouTube and bullshit like that, from 9 till like 2, and then I go to sleep.
I've started keeping my girlfriend's schedule, or my wife's schedule rather. Plus, especially during school, when I have to get up at like 6:30 to get my son ready for school,
Ugh.
I usually get up between 7 and 7:30, and in the morning I like either do a second watch, or I take notes, or I correspond, or whatever, and then I come in the office around 9. Depending, like when I drop off my son, I just come straight to the office and start working. Jim gets in, like he says, around 10 o'clock, and then we do our work. Like when we do live watches, or that's, you have to come in obviously about a half hour early, so like 8:30 for a 9 o'clock live watch, and then for instant take, kind of same thing. And for like movie nights, that's the thing. Like if you got a movie night from Thursday, I'm working from. Because that's one of my days I have to take Jack to school. That's like from 6 o'clock in the morning till midnight day for me.
For me, it's like a 16-hour day. So,
but I find I don't get a lot of sleep. I get by with like 6 to 7 hours of sleep a night, because Cecily conks out around 11 o'clock, and I usually stay up for another. That's my reading time. So I'll either read like educationally on the internet, or for or I'll read a book.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Reading lately. Audio book. Yeah.
Everything's just built around the schedule is the thing. Like, whatever, like right now our schedule is super tight because we've got 3 set pieces that we have to hit every day, and then we've got to make commissions around that and movies around that, and the Bald Move, the insider content around all that stuff too, and then fitting the business stuff around that as well. Do you have any? I forget. Did you have anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ann Duarte says, "What is your favorite cuisine?"
Ooh.
And then she puts a bunch of emojis. One is thinking burrito, taco, pizza, some kind of fajita, some kind of pita pocket,
Yeah.
and a hamburger.
Right.
# bald lunch. Mine's definitely Italian. Okay, it's either toss-up, Italian or Japanese. Because I love sushi, and I've gotten into ramen in the last few years.
Oh yeah.
And god damn it, ramen is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the Italians had the pasta game on lock, but the Japanese know
They made
how
you
to
some
make
Eastern
a good
promises,
noodle.
huh?
Yeah, did.
The older I get, the more I like food, man, as you can tell by looking at me. I like a good lasagna. I really like a good steak. And I feel like, so I look, and I eat out because of money, but now that I haven't ate out hardly at all in the last 3 or 4 years, I don't even know if I had money that I'd do it, because I've gotten to be so good at cooking that pisses me off to go somewhere and have a bad steak, because I can effortlessly cook a perfect steak every time in like 10 or 15 minutes at home. So, and then I can steam some asparagus and throw a potato, and like that's a pretty fucking good meal.
It is, yeah. It's nothing fancy.
It's nothing fancy,
very
but it
simple.
tastes good, and I can
Yeah.
like in an hour's time I can make the best lasagna I've ever tasted, and like make my own spaghetti sauce. And corn's back in stock. God damn, I love corn on the cob. I love corn on the cob, and I mean that's a stereotypical Indiana boy thing to say, but god damn, I love corn on the cob.
It's good.
Man.
It's tasty, but I hate eating it.
Do you? Why?
Because the act of eating corn on the cob is maybe the worst act of eating
Yeah,
you
you
can
don't.
commit.
You want to do it around friends and loved ones, but
I mean, just because you got to put butter on it.
You gotta put
If you
butter
don't
on
put
it.
butter on your corn on the cob, you failed. And then the butter just, I mean, you're like the Joker with a butter mass.
my beard turns into a butter flavored mop. Like
Yeah.
every single time I get done, I have to go to the bathroom, fully wet my beard with hot water, lather it up, and then rinse it. It's the only way to get the butter
Yeah.
smell and taste out of your mouth.
And then you have to like brush your teeth and floss and like, because you got corn everywhere, just stuck in your gums.
I don't usually have the stuck between my teeth problem.
No?
I mean, if I do,
Oh,
I
I
floss
always
for
do.
sure. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I guess corn on the
It's-
cob because it always goes away for like 6 months out of the year, and I miss it.
That's true. Yeah.
Right now that I'm at peak, and this is like the greatest time because like right here into like early sun, like probably June is probably the optimum because you can get local corn and it's like the really tender good stuff. But I like all kinds. Like I like the tender sweet corn. I like the more meatier, really yellow, heavy, fat ass, like size of the business end of a baseball bat size cobs. I like all different types of. I like the multicolored shit.
Why does it go away for 6 months?
I think it's just the cost thing.
Cost thing?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Fucking
But you
corn
think
is like
it-
one of the most subsidized.
But no one wants to like I get pissed if I have to pay more than 25 cents an ear of corn.
Yeah.
It's not like a fucking mango where like some asshole might pay $4 for it in the wintertime. Like I'm not gonna pay $4 for an
50
ear of
cents.
corn. I don't think. Maybe
Well, maybe
the
if
novelty.
you-
Like
yeah.
if I went to if I went to Jungle Gyms in January and they had corn on the cob some random week for $3 an ear, I'd be like, all right, sure. I'll get a half dozen.
I feel like it's become one of those things that you eat when you grill out, right? So maybe there's like a summertime association and just maybe they've tried it. Maybe they've tried winter corn and nobody buys it.
Or like watermelon, same way.
Yeah.
Watermelon,
Yeah.
like you can get melon year round, but you can get watermelon. Yeah, you might be right. It's like people are just like,
It's
know.
winter. What do I want corn for?
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
like winter seasonal beer. Like everyone says
Right.
that's their best, but why don't they make it in the height of summer then? Because then it wouldn't be special.
Yeah.
Jazz Minowa from DC. Have you guys seen the story about the Juicero?
Juicero?
Have you heard about this?
Nope.
So they kickstarted this thing as a $400 juicer that squeezes bags of already made juice into a cup for you via Wi-Fi.
What?
Bloomberg reported after the product hit the market, some investors were surprised to discover a much cheaper alternative. You can squeeze the Juicero bags with your bare hands.
Uh-huh.
This company raised almost $120 million. Maybe you guys can come up with some ridiculous tech to get funding for Bald Move. I actually watched this
Or
video
better
just
yet,
yesterday.
you could squeeze a fucking fruit with your hands. How about that?
It's ridiculous. This thing, because they had this thing, is like it can apply up to 2 tons of force, and I guess people were under the impression that there was like some kind of fruit pulp that you would get essentially fresh squeezed. But they got pictures of people side by side of the Juicero and just their hands going like this,
It's just juice in a bag.
and they're getting twice the juice out of just going like this
Fuck me.
from the $400 machine.
Yeah.
It'd be like if like a Keurig cost $500
Uh-huh.
and you get the same thing by like just pouring hot water through the cup. Like
Yeah.
this seems like a big fucking scam. Big fucking scam.
I guess if you're really into automation and you don't want to do it yourself,
But you'd have to be
like you
really
can
into
have it
automation,
juice
man.
in your juice while you're laying in bed or something.
You'd have to be really into automation. Do you
yeah.
have any more? Because I'm about ready to go to lightning round.
Yeah, Michael McBride asks if we have any thoughts on The Last Jedi teaser and all the news coming from the Star Wars Celebration. I haven't seen that news. What news?
I haven't seen the news coming from Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that my YouTube crush Jenny Nicholson got signed for Screen Junkies, and she's now doing this weekly show called The Millennial Falcon, which I've seen 2 episodes, but she supposedly is going to have full coverage of the celebration. this week, and I'd kind of been waiting for that to come out.
Huh.
But I did watch the trailer, and I thought it
me too.
was really good. Like, I'm hoping it's about Luke renouncing the Jedi path, because one of the things that became clear to me in the prequels was that the Jedi was a very, very flawed, from a social standpoint, order. Like, they demand this divorcing from any form of emotion that doesn't seem healthy or sustainable. And it made him very rigid and not of order of the people. And that's one. So, and one of the interesting things I always thought about the EU is when you explore other like force using traditions, like the witches of Dathomir, or like some of these other that like still were, which they're maybe a little more evil. But there's a lot of like, light side force traditions that weren't as rigid as the Jedi. And it seems like Kyle Katarn, for example, that was like a gray Jedi. Like, that might be ultimately where you need to go, because you don't need any prophecy to bring balance to the Force if you just keep it balanced within yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have to worry about these fucking Siths popping up every millennia or two and fucking shit up, just be balanced, man. Like, I guess that, and I think it would be cool if The Last Jedi just means that, like, Luke consciously says the Jedi way is flawed and wrong, and I'm going to teach Rey a different path. And
Yeah, it seems like that might be where they're headed with this.
it doesn't have to mean like it could be a bunch of bullshit. I'm excited because I did not know this until this week that Rian Johnson is the director of this one.
Really?
Yeah. If you're a
Should be
Breaking Bad
interesting.
fan, you know this guy's got a very visually interesting style. Or if you've seen Looper, he did Looper too.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in how he's going to bring the Star Wars universe to life, his personal take on it. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually, it made me really hungry for the real trailer, and it made me really impatient for December.
Yeah.
Because like Rogue One is all right. It was good. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now, but it didn't hit the spot that like The Force Awakens hit for me.
Right.
Did you also? I maybe this is what he's speaking of, because I was listening to Chris and Andy's podcast, and they mentioned that Disney's now saying that this new ongoing series is not going to be just a trilogy. Like, people, I think, assumed that The Force Awakens was kicking off a new trilogy that was going to come to a close.
Yeah.
But now
I
they're
mean, why
saying,
would it be with the money they're making?
right,
Like,
right,
yeah.
They looked over the fence to what? Well, it's not even a fence in the same fucking company. They're like the cubicle next door. Marvel is like rolling up $100 bills and smoking them, and they're like, why? We've got a very young cast with some fan favorites. We still got like Mark Hamill that can maybe kick around, and maybe don't even need him. Why would we ever stop making these things every 2 years?
Yeah.
At least until these people are like enough already. 121. Okay, lightning round. 121. Mike in a better place, I think. Wants to know. I guess so. They're doing Dune movies again. And they just tapped director Eric Roth, who did The Case of Benjamin Button, Munich, and Forrest Gump or he's not director, he's the writer, to write the first movie project. Wants to know, what format would you have them take? Start with a movie with the original Dune, followed by a movie franchise. Start with the first prequel in the Dune-verse timeline, TV show, miniseries, etc. I think a HBO series is the best way to go for everything.
Okay.
But if not, then, and I haven't read any of the non-Herbert Dune, and I've heard bad things about the Kevin J. Anderson Dune prequels. So
Dune prequels?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I would just stick with the original books and make a movie out of each one of them if I couldn't do it like an HBO season out of each book method. But I think that would be the best way to do it. Murder Bear wants to know, Jim, are you planning on seeing Guardians of the Galaxy before seeing the sequel?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We actually got to get that in like next week, I suppose. Dwarf and Fishy said, hey, J-Ron, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday. Can I hear you guys say a well, okay then in a Minnesotan accent?
Well, okay then.
Aw, jeez. Aw, jeez. Well, okay then. I'm not very good at it. Well, okay then. There. That's good.
Yeah.
Happy birthday anyway. This about marriage trends is too meaty for a lightning round.
Marriage, okay.
And about essentially men increasingly being interested or in opting out of traditional marriage, and
Okay.
how men are perceived as being screwed out of custodial rights and stuff and divorces. And I guess if I was going to give a 30-second answer, I'd say the patriarchy cuts both ways. And if you have a culture surrounding that men are the caregivers, or men are the providers and women are the caregivers, and that's the rigid role that they have to play out, then you're going to get bullshit like getting fucked out of, your time with your children when you go to divorce court. And to fix that, we have to fix the underlying systemic and cultural issues that surround men and women in the modern age. So there, lightning round.
Boom.
The actual answer would be far, far longer. Let's see if I can get... Okay, one last one, and then we got to bounce. Cheating. As professional podcasters, do you have any thoughts on the Adam Carolla Show, which used to be a top podcast for several years, reigning, and now rarely shows in the top 150 iTunes podcast ranking? I have lots of thoughts.
I mean, that show has changed over the years. I don't know.
Have you listened to it recently?
Not recently. I stopped when he started going a little heavy on the ads.
A little heavy?
A little heavy.
Like a little heavy by AM radio standards?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
This is the problem with that whole model. He went all in on the advertising model.
Yeah.
Trying to run a studio around only that, and I feel like, he was just behind the curve on crowdfunding and stuff like that, like how to actually build a sustainable studio.
Right.
He just, I don't know, he didn't do it.
Plus, I just felt like when I listened to him for quite a bit for 6 months, and I got to this feeling where, and there's a couple things like Dave Ramsey I listened to for some, but you just realize I think I've heard every show this guy can possibly do.
Right.
Oh, here's Adam. He's going to rant about what it was like having shitty parents when he's in. He's going to rant about dealing with stupid people, and it's the same. His worldview never ever changed or grew, or I never felt like he learned anything new other than maybe a wrinkle in pop culture. Mm-hmm. He's hilarious to listen. I still love it when he goes on Bill Simmons and bullshits about the Fast and Furious or whatever. But day in and day out is just, I don't know.
Also, a lot more competition now.
Yeah, true.
He probably got squeezed out by podcasts that are doing more than just a talking head.
Also, he still's probably getting about the same traffic as he did. It's just that everyone, the boat there's been a lot more, like you said, the competition cuts both ways.
Yeah.
That level of popularity 7 years ago is now, I remember when Bill Simmons first did his very first podcast, he was at the top of iTunes, and now I don't know where the hell. I've kind of fallen off with Bill Simmons, and that's something that scares me. Because I think about my relationship with Penny Arcade, where they're not a daily destination anymore, and Bill Simmons, he went off the air for 9 months because ESPN was fucking with me, and that was enough to break my habit, and I very rarely listen to his show anymore. That's the thing that kind of concerns me is how do we not fuck that up?
Well, I think there's always churn in those types of things, and that's why when we talk about, as soon as you paywall everything, you're cutting your own throat. You're saying we're done growing. Right. And you're not even done growing. You're done staying the same. Right. You're going to only decline from here on out. Right. Because of that relationship. So, right. It's natural. You just got to bring new people in. Right. And maybe he hasn't done that quite as effectively.
Yeah, I don't know. He had the last I listened to him, it seemed like he had 4 people. He had almost a Howard Stern thing where he had a woman that was coming in her too, but he had some jackass that was this producer that would and it was this kind of, it felt like he had just reconstructed a morning show. Yeah. And that plays on the radio, state of the art, man.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. That's going to have to be it for this week. We got to bounce to do some other things. Next week, I think, is The Circle. We got a lot of stuff coming up next week. It's our cavalcade of Leftovers, Better Call Saul, and Fargo. Next week, we'll also have a wrap-up of The Expanse. It just finished its really good second season run. Mm-hmm. Something else coming out in the near future will be Cecil and I's breakdown of Girls. We're going to have a recurring weekly segment on Bald Move TV called Who Won the Week, where we talk about Fargo, Better Call Saul, and The Leftovers, and who won the week for this week. And a lot of other stuff like that. We've also got, at some point next week, the Nick Cage movie commission for There Will Be Bees. No, that's not what it's called. Wicker Man
Wicker Man
will be
yeah.
coming out there at some point too. So there's a lot of stuff coming out next week, and again another lunch. And we'll see you guys there. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody. We still streaming? We're still streaming.
Yeah, we're still live. This wants me to refresh the page. I don't know.
Automated.
I don't have permission to view the page. Well, that's unfortunate.
Well, I'm gonna